please.
I started the recording. All right. Roll call. Ms. Cimaroli,
Here.
Mr. Nath. I don't see him in yet. Mr. Tolmer,
Here.
Mr. Lennon,
Here.
Mr. Nath, I see just coming in now. And then Mr. Livingston,
Here.
and I'm Joe Cowler.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Joe, do we have anybody for comments or this evening?
No one sent anything in advance.
Okay, all right. All right, then, shall we look at the meetings or approval of the meetings? Are these corrected? Are these okay with everybody? Any comments or questions? All right,
I make a motion that we adopt the minutes as written.
okay. All in favor?
I need
Aye.
a second.
Oh, I need a second.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, motion passes. Now, here's the interesting part, new businesses. Now, the number one item is a confirmation by commission members to return to in-person meetings. Similar to what the council is doing this point forward. Anybody have any questions or comments in regards to going back to meeting in person in the borough building following COVID-19 restrictions? Any comment?
Our first meeting would be June then.
Correct. It allows Joe to publish the public notice, and then we could have it in June. All right,
No concern here, Justine. I'm in support.
okay, all
And
right,
then, Justine, this is Joe.
Yeah.
Just to add, the council starting at our June meeting will be in person and on Zoom. So we're going to be in council chambers, but the meeting will still be streamed on Zoom. So if those who feel comfortable staying at home can sign in and participate that way. So it will be both.
okay, all right,
So the public is welcome to attend in person and on Zoom.
okay, good.
Perfect.
All right, motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
All right, motion passes. The second item up for business tonight is the comprehensive plans. Now, question for the committee members is, how does Joe and I and Dale had an informal meeting this afternoon with Joe. And we were discussing the parameters in which we would not like to see, but we just discussed all the options. Now, one of the questions is, do you all as committee members feel as if we should remain committed to the 6 vendors that responded to the proposal?
Justine, I don't understand what you mean. Like,
Okay, remember when we had the co-committee meeting with the council, all
Right.
right? And the comment at the end was made that we should probably interview all 6,
yes,
okay? Rather than narrowing it down to what we felt were the 4 most amenable to the
Yeah.
project, all right? Is everybody still committed to the 6, or can we narrow it down?
okay. I didn't know if you wanted to like open it up to other people as well. That's
No,
fine.
no,
Okay.
no.
I was like, okay, no.
I guess Justine, if I can, I'd stop shy of just giving a yes, no to that question and maybe give a thought related. And I saw the agenda item talking about, the way we want to move forward with evaluation.
Mhm.
There might be an interim approach here where I know we've developed a series of questions. We might issue those questions and ask for specific input to those questions.
Okay,
We give whatever.
Okay,
use that collectively with their general RFP response, which really wasn't an RFP response. It was a kind of a promo of here's who we are as an org. Not
Right,
wrong, right?
right.
But with those two things together, would that give us enough to narrow it down to 3? I think, no heartburn either way. I like the idea of kind of letting 3 rise to the top and really giving them time to evaluate top 3, as opposed to 6 might have the potential of getting kind of convoluted and wait, who do we hear from first?
Right.
So I thought about that as maybe an interim, have them put some formal thoughts on paper for us specific to questions from Bridgeville, as opposed to just a general, here's who we are and you should be excited and trust us.
Right.
And with that, together with the presentation, would that give us enough to get a comfort level with here's the top 2, 3?
All right. Any other comments, questions from other members? I mean,
That's
I think
fair.
it's a great idea. But
Justine and Tim, do you foresee like I issue a letter to all the 6 with the 6, whatever number of questions we have, give them so many times to respond, and then we share those responses with the group, then that gets it down to the 3. Is that how you're recommending we shortlist is?
I would, and without getting too complicated, I think we just come up with, and this is other RFPs that I've helped facilitate. You score those answers, right? And it gives you a very empirical way of then looking across whoever's participating on that committee and saying, we asked them about what is their intended approach to incorporate wider community input. That should be more than a couple of sentence answer. And on a 1 through 5, how did this score versus the other people's score? It gives a good way to kind of quantify, hey, we think they really nailed this answer. And if there's a dozen of them or so, a really good representative set, just a week or whatever through those, it's a little bit of homework, right? But it may just limit the amount of presentations we have to hear from people who may not really be contenders at the end of the day.
right, right.
Yeah, you could absolutely do that. Be 1 through 6, if you have 6 applications, and then you can just score them accordingly. Whoever has the high scores.
Yep.
We were talking this afternoon about what a great data analyzer you are there, Tim.
Well, I mean, a lot of this is,
I'll say this too, if you do that and say we do 6, we have 6 people and 4 of them are lumped together and 2 of them are way, they really separate themselves at the bottom, then we can adapt it and do 4,
Right.
whatever we want.
Yeah,
But it's a
absolutely.
great way to get a start and see where everybody lines up.
Okay.
It's a couple of different goals there, right? It's tries to keep things objective. Like gets beyond just the ambiguity of I like them, I didn't like them. And it also, selfishly saves some time if we just think like, this is not really
Sure.
worth the entire evening of our summer to.
Right.
Say, Tim,
Yeah.
would you be willing to help us and put together some sort of quantification system for this, like you did with the earlier comp plan stuff?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. I'm happy to. It's not overly complex. Yep.
It is to us.
No, that's less of a shot at you guys, more of like a comfort, hopefully, that I'm not signing us up for some sort of rigorous exercise. It just gets things out of minds and onto paper.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, well, and I think you did a really good job with that, with the stuff that we talked about last year. And to me, that, that really helped be able to identify stuff and put a number or some sort of quantification with it. And in the end, it just helped kind of sort things out.
Yeah.
It was a really good thing you did.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
appreciate that. And maybe it makes sense, Joe. I know you sent out after your last meeting kind of an all call for additional questions. Maybe we double down on that and give it another day or two as kind of a takeaway from this meeting and say, like, if we go this route, we want to give a pretty robust kind of set of questions for people to respond to. So there really is an opportunity for people to differentiate themselves. So maybe that's just a request for shaking the tree. Any is worth asking and having them put some prep time and thought into in advance. I think any and all questions are fair game.
So then we would have the questions out and the responses back to us by the June meeting or July meeting?
Yeah, I would think if we got questions out, what are we sitting at here, the end of the month? If we got questions out, beginning of June, a week and a half, whatever it is, I don't think it's unrealistic to ask those back inside of 2 weeks latest.
Okay, all right,
Fair enough.
all right. Joe, what do you have any issues with sending out the letters to the vendors?
Not at all. I think this is wonderful. So
Okay.
I'll get with Tim and then the rest of the committee this week so that we could have this out hopefully by Friday. I think that'd be a good goal.
Okay,
Perfect.
good. All right. Do I need a motion? No?
I don't think you have no motion for that.
Okay. All right, now, which moves me into this Active Allegheny grant. Okay, the Active Allegheny grant has been funded. The request for proposal were sent out, and we should be getting the responses to the RFP by the end of May, which is within the next week or so. All right. It's anticipated, Joe said this afternoon, that he would gather each proposal and provide it to us as committee members. Question is, now that we have already moved the comprehensive plan a month forward, all right? The question is that what do you think about moving the proposal to get the Active Allegheny grant, the proposals reviewed, the interviews accepted, people interviewed, along with a vendor selected sooner rather than later?
I think that with the funding and stuff already in place for that, for the active transportation, I think we need to move on that and get that done sooner. Joe wrote a grant for the comp plan, which we won't know anything about till what, August, September?
That's what they told me, correct.
Okay, so, where we've already got the money and stuff set for the active transportation, let's get that moving and move forward with that. And, we can work through the interview process with the comp plan vendors after we get the active transportation done. That's my thought.
Just to bridge on what Joe and Justine said, the RFP, the proposals were due last week, at the end of last week. I received 4 proposals. I've yet to go through them. Tomorrow, I'll get them all separated and get them out to the committee members so that we can start the selection process. I think bridging on what Dale and Justine were saying, the funding is in place, everything's secured, we're ready to go on that aspect. It would be ideal that June or July, we could have selection completed and a recommendation for council at our July meeting at the latest on who to award contract to, so we can get this project started this summer. So anticipate something this week with a packet to your house.
I have a question for you. Would the information that we get from this Active Allegheny, will that be applicable at all to a comprehensive plan? I mean, will that information gathered be, I don't know, potentially informative to whoever we give the award the program to?
I would think so. It overlaps a little bit.
Right. Okay. All right.
And it's interesting enough, I saw on the envelopes, some of the firms that we're talking about interviewing for the comp plan put in for the active transportation plan.
Okay. Okay.
So would they piggyback? So if let's hypothetically say that one of those firms was awarded both, they would piggyback it on each other? Is deadline as far as getting the active transportation stuff done first? I mean, I'm not asking,
No, that would be done first.
okay.
And you'll see within the proposals, proposed lines for the project.
Okay.
Mhm.
So any other comments? Any comments from the council members that are on the call? All right. Okay, because obviously we're going to be using the members from the planning committee and join with council in our co-meetings for the Active Allegheny grant also, correct?
That's my own impression of it as well.
Okay, all right. All right. Any other comments? Questions? Now, the other thing is too, is that if it's decided to narrow the vendors down for the comprehensive plan, what type of schedule would you all like to see? I mean, can we go to 2 a month? Or can we do, say, 3 or 4 interviews in a 1-day period?
It just, yeah, I don't want to go 2 a month. Let's get them. Let's knock them out quick, is a lot faster than we can.
Okay,
If we do 2 a month, say if we had to do all 6 for some reason, you're 3 months down the road,
Mhm.
and
Right.
if we can get them, keep everybody's fresh, keep them fresh in our, what we talked about. I think it's a lot better. We can find time.
Yeah,
so I mean, with the summer and everybody on vacation and that, so let's just say everybody would be willing to take, if we do 6, would take 2 days to do 3 and 3?
Whatever it takes. I don't know. I guess so.
If we go through Tim's exercise, essentially we're shortlisting it. That's the
Right.
whole
Right.
effort of reason to do Tim's. So if we
Right.
shortlist it, there's no reason why we don't dedicate 1 day and just do the short
Okay.
list and get it done with.
Okay,
That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'd hope that, worst case, we come out of there with maybe 4 potentials, and even if we do 2 and 2, I'm with Mike. I'd say let's schedule them.
okay,
That means, 2 additional nights in a month in addition to our regular meeting. Okay, so be it. It's 2 occasions, and I'm happy to make the time, speaking for me.
okay, all right.
Perfect.
So, anything else? All right, so in summary, let's just say, we are all agreeable on in-person meetings, so that's a go, with in-person and Zoom meetings, similar to what the council is doing, this point for June, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
yes.
Secondly, is we all agree that the Active Allegheny project will move forward quicker. And so that we will have hopefully the opportunity to award the vendor in July. And Joe
Correct.
will get us those proposals soon,
This week.
this week. Did I hear a comment from somebody or question? Okay, and then third and lastly is that with the help of Tim, once again, we will ask questions to the vendors and score those vendors and select, hopefully winnow it down into 3 or 4 vendors, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, and then if we do have the 3 or 4 vendors, we all agree that the interviews could occur in 1 day. Agree?
Agree.
Okay.
1 or 2.
1 or 2, okay.
Right.
All right, yeah, I mean, they may be like wet cats too, trying to
Yeah.
herd them all together. So Now, question about, this is our initiative. What happens with council? Does council need to be made aware of all of these decisions, or how does this work, Joe?
I'll make sure they're advised of what's going on tonight.
Okay,
From the get-go, council established a working group, and members of that working group are on this call as we speak.
okay,
There'll be a party and part of the conversation in those meetings. The purpose of the working group is to make a recommendation on who gets the contract to do the work. And then council will award contract when we're ready, when the funding's in place.
okay. All right. All right. So do we need any official motions or no?
No.
I think you did it all.
Okay, all right. Okay, any other questions, comments? Council members want to say something outside, public that wants to get involved? Well, okay. I make a motion to adjourn. Anybody?
Excuse me. Could I didn't, excuse me, Justin.
You're killing me.
Yes, I'm sorry. It was so interesting. It was so interesting. I didn't want
Oh,
to interrupt at the beginning. If I may speak.
yes, I'm sorry, Bob. I not,
No, it was my fault. I apologize. At any rate, you're on the right track, but just to be brief, when you guys start interviewing the potential city planners, I'd like to know what the first thing is what the first problem is that you're going to ask them if they can solve for Bridgeville. Essentially, let me put words in your mouth. I want to know if you're going to ask them to solve the 50-year-old traffic congestion problem that has been so economically destructive to the town.
Why do you care? You have a bird shot at.
I didn't hear your comment, Justin.
no, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. You know, I don't know that I personally have not prioritized what I feel is the most outstanding. I mean, I've thought about it. I've thought about, flood mitigation as opposed to traffic. And to me, it's sort of a gut reaction in that, if there's a similar situation like there was in 2018, then, was it worth selecting a different subject to go first? All right. So
Excuse me. I want to just mention one other thing. I hope you can clear your incentives better. The traffic congestion problem on North-South Washington Pike and on East-West Bar Hill Road has caused the collapse of both business districts, Baldwin Street and Washington Avenue. But I just want to, I won't keep you any longer, but I just want to mention something to you. The city planners, every city planning firm in the region has been watched where PennDOT and Allegheny County have been widening roads and building wider bridges and so on. And it's been very clear to all of them that PennDOT and the county have been building roads to the Route 19 business district and ignoring the traffic congestion problem on the Washington Pike corridor specifically. And I want to end up by saying this. The two largest employers of city planning, traffic engineering, and hydraulic engineering firms in Western Pennsylvania are PennDOT and Allegheny County. And you better make sure that whoever you pick isn't afraid to defy the established record of the county and the state on where they want to build roads to and where they don't want to build roads to. And I'll give you two specific examples. 3 years ago, I attended the meeting at I think it was a PennDOT meeting about how they wanted to modify the Kerwin Heights, the section of Washington Pike and Kerwin Heights there between the Vanadium Road and the access roads to 79. And the subcontractor who designed the plan admitted that he was only concerned with getting traffic east and west from Buffalo Park, Mount Lebanon, Upper St. Clair to and from 79, with no intention of improving the traffic flow north and south on Washington Pike toward the Collier Township shopping, the shopping centers there. And also the public meeting that was mandatory about the 7-lane bridge that fortunately the former CEO of PennDOT liked that I gave them versus the 6-foot widening that's proposed for the bridge. At the public meeting, I went there with drawings to show them the importance of, for example, continuing 4 lanes between Bridgeville and Lafayette, and to emphasize putting in a 4-car left turn stacking lane on Washington Pike to Chartier Street. I was prevented from speaking at the meeting. So you guys better, I'll end this up by saying, you better understand what's going on here. You're talking about billions a year in retail, commercial sales and services, and you better be prepared for unexpected confrontations.
Thanks, Bob. I mean, I'm hoping that, these groups are capable to do 2 things at once. And I'm sure that they have multiple people that are doing traffic versus flood mitigation. So, if the projects can move forward in tandem, then we'll be better off. And I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah, I mean, you guys are on the right track now, and with your manager and your new engineers and so on, you're on the right track. But don't allow PennDOT and the county to push you around. Demand the most outstanding comprehensive plan you can devise for Bridgeville. You aren't going to be paying for it.
okay.
At any rate, thanks for the
Thank
time.
you, Bob. All right, so there's no old business. So anybody have any other questions? No? I need a motion to approve. Motion to adjourn, sorry. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Dale, second.
Mike's on mute, but he seconded twice. He's ready to go.
I'll second it.
Back to that hockey game, guys. All right, well, thank you. And Tim, thank you again. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Just to reiterate, questions, any and all, let's get them out there so we got a really good